a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Now, curvy golden yellow text stationary in the middle of the screen with stars flying by through hyperspace that reads, Theory of a Blind Man. Golden yellow text begins to crawl from the bottom of the screen upwards. Episode 2, The Live Stream Strikes Back. After the separation of content uploads and live streams, this channel is dedicated to live streaming guests, gaming, proclivities and pondering of the fate of the galaxy. Darth Whistler reigns over these channels and his message will be heard with the help of many others presenting information for all to absorb. The text continues to crawl away from view deep into the infinity of space. For those of you willing to watch and listen to live streaming and participate in the chat, the live stream strikes back at a new upload channel with prizes and galactic credits to make you rebels come rich beyond your wildest dreams. But Darth Whistler is not satisfied until the triad of the Force has been completed, and so there lays another in wait deep in space and will soon be revealed. May the dark side of the Force be with you. As the last of the text disappears, we are left with stars flying by view in hyperspace, then fade to black.
Welcome everybody, this is Theory of a Blind Man. I got some special guests with me, but first I want to say hi to Original Marco in Darkness and Blind Toes for being in the chat and clogging that stuff up already. Thank you very much. Tonight we got actually we're all returning guests. I thought I was gonna have a couple newbies tonight, but they never got back to me, darn it. So like usual, we've got Nicole Cotta, Danielle Marie, and Jesse Anderson returning. How you guys doing?
We are great. How are you? Well,
you're speaking for all of them? That's awesome.
That's what I just said. I don't know about them, but
I'm good.
Gotta come in positive.
There you go. Right on, right on.
I'm doing pretty good. Can't get rid of me that easy.
Cool.
And I totally didn't just binge the episode 3 through 6 of Star Wars last weekend, by the way.
Nice. Right on. Well, it's been a while since we had you on, Jesse, so give us a little bit of an update. How you doing? What's been going on?
Well, I've been doing pretty good. I've actually been keeping quite busy, really. I'm still working full-time, working out of the home because of all this pandemic stuff going on, but busy with that. And then I am also in the process of, there is a XR, which is kind of a shorter thing for VR and AR. There's a XR Access Symposium
I'm excited
on the 21st and 22nd, so I'm helping with a session for that. So I've been working on that a little bit, doing a little bit of, your typical kind of game playing and testing and tech stuff, and enjoying the heck out of The Last of Us Part 2. And
Sweet.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good.
About it.
Yeah, but I've kind of been keeping busy with that and just a bunch of odds and ends here and there.
Right on. Thank you. And Danny, you're doing a conference too. You want to talk about it?
Yes. Yeah, I am doing the virtual NOAA conference. NOAA is the National Organization of Albinism and Hypopigmentation. So this is my first one. It was virtual and it was free, so free is the right price for me. But yeah, it's been hectic, it's been fun, and it's been a busy past couple of days. So
nice. Original Albino says hi, Danny.
Hey.
And Mr. Theory. Okay, I thought. Hey, Shane is in the chat. Marco. Welcome, Shane. Now I caught part of what's her name's video.
I really have no filter.
That video. Anyway, at the end of it, Shane finally popped in and said hi, and so I hope you guys are connecting with the metal detecting stuff. That's gonna be fun.
Oh, I knew you were gonna do something as soon as you messaged. You're like, I clipped that, and I was like, oh no.
Oh, I was on top of that one.
My burp was not actually that long. Did you extend it? Like, what did you do?
I don't know what you're talking about. That was all you. I did nothing. Although, if you got some sight, you'll see probably a little glitch here and there. So. And Darkness says, cheers, Nicole. So we got a great topic to move into from the mouth flatulations into disability and discrimination. And so I thought we could start about maybe personal experiences we've had, whether it be trying to get a job, being in a job, having to deal with possible discrimination. And I just wanted to mention, for me personally, I didn't notice anything in the moment, the time of something, but when I look back and start remembering things that I've heard or how people have said things, and I realized, oh, it was because I'm blind, or my skirt wasn't short enough. So where do you guys want to start? Go ahead, Nicole. You're antsy over there.
All right. I don't know what you're talking about, but I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm in the same boat where I feel like I didn't notice anything right away or in the moment, but maybe later, where people be like, well, how are you going to do this, or how are you going to do that? And maybe they're not discriminating, maybe they're just curious. But so I wrote a paper maybe a year ago on discrimination against people with disabilities, and I found a lot that a lot of it comes with being uneducated,
Right.
but also a lot of it comes with just not having the funds. And so they automatically just turn you away because they don't want to deal with that. And I don't like that, and we need to change that.
This art, you knew we were going to do the show, and you didn't share that article ahead of time. How could you?
I have to find it. I'm pretty sure I have it somewhere in my archive.
Oh, it's not like on a blog or a website or anything?
No, it's an
Oh,
actual
okay.
paper I wrote for a class.
Oh, you said paper, and I just assumed digital media. Huh. Wow. We're in different times.
Yeah. But there's a lot of discrimination that goes on, and I don't like it.
Yeah, no doubt. Ability Mom, welcome.
But I mean, I have friends too that have told me, like, maybe not from my personal experience, but I've had people who just automatically get denied because the job will ask them, well, how are you going to work this program? And they don't even give them a chance to explain how they can do it, and they just turn them away. Or, you know, they'll be like, oh, well, you don't drive yourself, so I can't depend on you to get to work on time. And that's
Right.
not fair.
Yeah, I'd like to pose this question after Jesse's and Danny's thoughts on that particular part of the fact that, do you think employers have a sense of liability on mind, or is it straight up discrimination? I mean, obviously there's some muddiness in there, 50 Shades of Grey or whatever, but so I like thoughts on that as well after that. So go ahead, Danny. What are your experiences?
Oh gosh, my story's long. Are you ready?
Of course.
Of course we're ready. That's what we're here for.
Okay.
Is it going to be as long as loud as you're typing?
No. No, it is not.
She was typing those 5,000
Yeah, right.
words.
She's prepping her script.
Look, I'm done now. Okay. Okay. So yeah. I mostly babysat for most of my teenage years, and then like later in my 20s and stuff. I did an internship when I was, it was 2015. I was like 25. I don't know. But yeah, I did an internship at a drug rehab facility, and that went pretty well. There was only a few questions where it was like, well, how will you do this? Will you struggle with that? And I think the biggest problem I had there was, how do I identify people? Like when they go, okay, so they had like 2 different rooms for people to meet in. Like they had big meetings. It was a big group. So there were 2 different rooms, and they would be like, so Danielle, go find so-and-so. We need to see that person now. And I would be like, shit, which room is he in? So I'd have to go look, and I couldn't look because I couldn't see who was in which room. So biggest blind struggle. But I don't think there was really like a lot of discrimination there. I think people just kind of were like, she just does
How do we
whatever.
deal with it too.
Yeah,
I was thinking, like,
yeah. I got the whole you're an inspiration comment a few times from some of the
yeah.
people in the drug rehab facility, and I was just like, thanks. Okay. You never know how to respond to that. But the experience that I did have with discrimination. So my master's program, I have a master's degree in clinical mental health counseling, and it requires you to do practicum and internship, which is basically like 2 semesters worth of clinical work. And the one I was going to do, I had talked to this professor way ahead of time and was like, I'm really interested in doing this. I had known this professor since undergrad, and I had explained to him like my vision difficulties. I'd explained to him like what I could see and what it was like. Like, we talked in depth about my vision and like some of the limitations and things, and he was like, you'll do fine. There's a lot of vocal cues and things like that. And so yeah, he was, yeah, I've told you this story, I think. But anyway, he was like, you'll do great. This will be good, because I was a good student. So I guess he just had a lot of faith in me, and that's, that's nice and all. But then it came time to do this work at this mental hospital. And I was there, not under his supervision, under someone with a bachelor's degree. Anyway, that's its own problem. But so I was there. I didn't really have proper supervision. But anyway, I did my thing. I felt like I did really well with the clients. I like connected well with them, and I, worked on worksheets and things like that. I created my own stuff. Like, I created things to help them and went out of my way to be creative, to do this and that. And he was like, you're doing so good. This is great. You're one of the brightest interns we've ever had. And like, literally almost toward the end of the internship, where it was going to transition into the next semester's internship, which I was supposed to be there both semesters. Literally, this is a week after he tells me, so you're the brightest intern we've had here, blah, blah, blah. Literally the next week he fires me.
Wow.
He says,
Oh.
he says, I don't have the time to work with you like I think I should, and blah, blah, blah. And it was just a lot of things like that. And it was just like, it was really rough and really sudden. Like, I didn't see it coming at all. So like, there were a lot of things that went into it. But I think one thing that really got me was that he kept telling me like multiple times throughout the semester, it was like, so don't be alone with the clients. Make sure you're always there with somebody. And then he's like, well, I tell all the interns that so that they can be careful and they can be safe. Okay, but then when he's firing me, he literally tells me, well, you seem like you always needed somebody to be there with you, and you always needed help with this or help with that, and like use that against me.
Oh,
Wow.
And like, yeah, you can see that.
Wow.
So like that was
Right.
so rough. It was right around the Christmas season. So at Christmas, when a lot of places are like winding down and closing and things like that, I had to call and try and find another internship just so I could finish my degree.
Yep.
So I
that's
called like
horrible.
7 or 8 different places. There's not that many places around here. I even called places out of the city that I live in to try and get anywhere. And the only reason I think that I had any luck, because half of the people I called, emailed, or whatever, didn't even get back to me. But the only reason I got in somewhere was because several of the students I had been in classes with were actually at that location. That location had its own issues, but I don't know if they were discrimination. There was a little bit of a question of that here and there, but I think, I don't know. I think people do think that we're a liability, and I can understand that, but also they don't really give you a fair shake.
Right. Yeah.
It's so frustrating. Like, I was wrecked for like a solid year after this happened to me. I mean, a year. I was like, I don't know if these are the way counselors act. I don't know if I want to be one. Like, I don't know if I want to be in this field. Like, how am I going to go forward with this if I can't find a job around here? Because you have to get a job.
That's the really surprising thing is, like, especially in a field of counseling, you would think that, that's the field that people would be more empathetic and actually be like, okay, well, I get this. And
this is what I thought
that
too.
would really shake your confidence. I can totally get that.
Like I said, I was wrecked.
I had a scary instance happen when I was going to school. I was in, which one was it? It was Child Psych Dev 1, and there's this part where every 2 days out of the week, you had to spend 45 minutes observing the child daycare on campus, and it's behind a glass. So you're like in this observation room watching them.
Oh,
That's interesting.
Yeah. I did have an assistant there though, like describing to me what's going on. But honestly, what good does that really do? I will.
Well, use your daredevil
Yeah,
vision.
because
Exactly.
then the assistant's really doing the observing, not you.
Yeah. Well, here's the scary thing. They said, well, because you're blind, we're just gonna pass you.
Oh,
That's like discrimination the other way.
Yeah. I was like,
Wow.
no, you
They
can't.
could have given you an
do that.
alternative. Come on.
Right.
It's not that hard.
No, it's not. They could have given me a myriad of written examples and scenarios, and that would have been no problem. But just like,
asked you to analyze them.
yeah. Shane, really quick, says that he's got a really good job. They take care of him, and they try to accommodate him any way they can. That's really cool.
Is he bragging? No.
Yeah, right. Shane's just like, nah.
That's good for you.
Nah, freaking booby. What about you, Jesse? What do you got to say?
Well, I gotta say, I mean, admittedly, I've been generally pretty fortunate as far as like having good employers, having, in school, everything like that. It's generally gone pretty well for me. Where I think I had the most trouble is kind of when I was on the show last time talking, we had that employment episode. There was that period right after getting my undergrad degree where I struggled for 3.5 years to just find a job, period. And I was applying for jobs, and I was getting interviews, phone interviews, in-person interviews, and just for whatever reason, I'd get the interviews and I wouldn't land the job.
Yeah.
And it would be so frustrating. And like most of them, like there were ones where like, okay, yeah, I'm a little bit out of my depth here, or this isn't going to work. But then there were a few that were a little bit questionable of like, I know I could do the job, and I kind of got this sneaking feeling that I don't really know if they really, I mean, maybe they did have some really good candidates, but I kind of felt there was some discriminating there. There could have been some like, we just don't think you can do the job fast enough, or you could tell there was some hesitation there, but they just couldn't say anything. But once I've been in different jobs, I've had a few over the years, and like I said, I think I've had generally some really good employers. I try to be as independent as I can to begin with. I mean, I don't have a problem asking for help if I need it, when I need it. But I think that goes a long way. The more you can be, independent and kind of being able to kind of demonstrate that, I think also really helps. But like my current employer right now, I mean, yes, it is a blindness agency, but still it's a government agency, but they're really good. I have a great supervisor. And it's just, I've really had no trouble, but even in my last job. But that being said, I have plenty of, really interesting examples from friends and clients and just people that I know that I could tell you horror stories of. I've got some doozies.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We'll save a couple of those for a little bit. Kim Lackey, welcome. Welcome back. What up, girl? She says that fear breeds discrimination.
Oh, yes, it does.
Oh, yeah.
That's a really
Definitely
good
does.
point. And actually, that was kind of what I was going to share with. I think, like I was saying, looking back on things, the most, again, of course, you can't really say it's discrimination, but I think we all know deep down, like on a intuitive level, of when this happens to us. And the most resistance I've ever gotten from looking for jobs was from blind centers or blind people. I've got really high scores in tech for AT, and I just landed an independent contract this past November, out of almost 10 years. And looking back from the two blind centers and 4 adaptive technology companies that I've applied to, it's all been the same thing. Pretty much the same excuses as well. Like, oh, we found somebody better. Really? Prove it.
From blind centers?
Blind centers. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Why? That's not.
And the guy there that said like, okay, yeah, we got a job for tech opening up. You should apply. okay, I'll apply. I was in good with the director at the time because she wanted my, you know what, but still, it never went anywhere because there's always the computer tech manager, whoever, the AT manager that's responsible for hiring people, and they do have their little cliques, at least from my experience. So if you're a friend of a friend who's in tech, then you're going to get it over someone who's not a friend.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of jobs are like that, but it shouldn't be that way.
No.
If you have, if you have the qualifications and the skills, you should be put to the top of the list.
Well, and there's also this sort of a thing where I don't know the exact legalities to it, but like there are certain things where, especially in a government type of job, where they have somebody that they would hire internally right away, but by law they actually have to post it
right
externally, and so that's kind of a weird sham in a way in itself.
Yeah. Original Albano. Actually, I do. Believe it or not, I'm totally blind and I draw. So yes, people still use paper. Jeez.
Yep.
Shane says, "Oh no, long story. I'm leaving." I'm gonna skip ahead. If I skip you guys' messages,
no, don't leave Shane.
no, he was joking. But I'm gonna skip to the bottom of the chat. If you guys have any questions or comments, start putting them in now. Oh, wait. Shane says... Shane, it's funny you said that because, yeah, when I first lost my sight, I was actually working for Granite Fabrication Shop when I was going to school, and I was actually responsible for loading, unloading these giant crates and containers of granite slabs or tile bundles, and we were operating a 3-tier 26,000-pound forklift. And after I lost my sight, I was still running it because I could. So Shane says, I was at a job interview. They already knew he was blind, and they told him they have a forklift job for you.
I'll go run that forklift.
That's kind of funny.
Let me handle that for you.
I mean, it's one thing if you already know the yard and you know the equipment, but
yeah.
Oh man, What made me stop doing that job is we went to a training seminar. It was a safety seminar that you have to do in construction or whatever, and they showed this video of this guy getting in between a giant slab that they pull out from the rock quarry, and these things are ginormous, and this thing pancaked the dude. It fell right on him, and the thing didn't even break, it just squashed. I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I quit. I resigned. Whatever.
Yeah.
I wish they stepped up their safety video game, man.
Yeah. So
that's pretty serious.
Going back to liability, and it kind of ties in with Kim's comment about fear breeds discrimination. So we can't really say in that instance it's discrimination. Maybe they have the thought or the intent that it would be safer if you don't work here. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Liability.
Well, I've got a really interesting story about that. There was a year or two ago now. I was working with one of the counselors where I work, and they had this client, and they had another employer. They were, they were trying to help get this person a job, and they had a job kind of all lined up, and it would have worked out well for them. Unfortunately, I never got to meet the employer, but probably better that I didn't, because anyway, what had happened was they were in this old building, and so they go for they go to the job site, they find out what the job duties are and everything, and then the counselor met with the employer. And the employer was basically saying that, well, we would hire this person, but they're blind, and this is a really old building, and so they were really scared about, like, because it was up a big flight of stairs on the second floor, they were afraid to hire a blind person because they said, well, what if the blind person, what if they fall down the stairs, and then we would be liable. But and then if we have to, the building's old, we don't have the money to retrofit and put in an elevator just so that we can hire a blind person. I'm like, my immediate comeback would have been like, you realize that anybody could fall down the stairs,
really.
you moron.
And this is exactly...
I'm glad I didn't meet with that employer because I probably would have said things I shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm not a counselor.
And this is exactly why...
I wouldn't have said this, but I would have thought this in my head. I've been like, how about you close your eyes and we see who falls down the stairs first?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, it's stairs. Everybody deals with stairs.
Yeah.
It's not... I
So
mean,
if
it's
you're
one
old
thing.
enough
Like,
to apply for a job, you've gone up the stairs quite a few
Yeah.
times in your lifetime.
I mean, it's
I
one
don't
thing if
know.
you have a mobility impairment, like, you know, if you have crutches or a wheelchair or something like that, then I get a little bit more concerned. But, like, blind, it's just, how is that even an excuse?
I
Like,
don't know.
I had to throw that one out there for you guys because that was the doozy. You'd
Pretty
enjoy
bad.
that one.
I don't remember the last time I saw a blind person on the second story of any building, so I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
For either.
Holy moly, Streamlabs is working. I forgot to turn that off, actually. And I forgot, I don't know if I said hi to Blind Toes, but welcome Blind Toes if I did not. So, any other thoughts on liability discrimination?
Liability, so, yeah, I mean, I feel like I agree with everything that was already said with, like, maybe it being dangerous and you could hurt yourself, but not just a liability in terms of hurting yourself, but what if it makes the business, well, this would be more like efficiency, I guess, than liability, where they're going to lose business because you're not as fast as someone else would be. That's something that I've read on too, where like they won't hire someone with a disability because they feel they may be a little slower than someone else. And
That's interesting
where
because,
discrimination
I
can
mean,
come in,
affirmative
too.
action is directly in support of, it's part of affirmative action is for hiring disabilities. So,
Right.
And then also, Shane mentioned this about tax breaks and whatnot. That's a thing nationwide. That's a federal thing. If you hire a person with disability and they need accommodations, you get a tax break. You get tax credit.
Right, but she does make a good point, though, in that, like, you know, we have a lot of people who apply for these customer service call center jobs. I don't know what the call to a call center thing is, but, like, you know, they work on a lot of what their jobs are is they work on, like, a quota. Like, you have to meet so many customer service calls per hour or emails per hour, but it's usually call center stuff. And sometimes they're willing to be a little bit better about that, but yeah, and especially if people are looking for that type of job where they are super focused on like quotas and stuff.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, there are certain jobs that I personally feel that I would not do because I know I would impede their profit margin. So
Yeah,
I'm
see,
not
I
even going
don't
to
like
attempt it.
jobs like that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, and I wasn't saying, like, I mean, I completely agree with you, but it's just like, I mean, yeah, it's just they're just focused on the speed of everything a little bit too much.
Yep, exactly.
And it's like,
I have a question.
there's quality too.
What's that?
I have a question. Is it better or worse
Worse.
when you know overtly that you've been discriminated against, or if you're left to wonder, like with the job applications and you interview and you don't know?
For
I'd rather
me,
know because I'm going to fight it.
for me personally, the not knowing the obvious kills me, racks my brain, and I'll go
Me too.
after them.
That's how I
Yep.
feel about it.
I won't stop thinking about it if I don't know why.
Yep.
Matter of fact,
was me.
if they were upfront about it during the interview, let's say they didn't know I was blind, I walk in with my cane or service dog, and they're like, "Oh, you're blind." I'm like, "Is this gonna be an issue? If so, just tell me now. I'll walk away. I don't
Right.
care."
Don't let me waste my time.
Right.
So I have no problem with that. But I mean, it doesn't mean the ADA is not going to hear from me. Like, hey, you know, you guys might want to be up on this.
Right.
Well, one of the funniest stories was I had applied for this job. It was supposed to be this office job. They totally apparently just misadvertised the job or something because
Oops.
I applied for this job and I got a phone call back. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, then I had a friend of mine. I had to travel, a few hours down to the cities at the time to go for the interview. And it was at a car dealership. I'm like, okay, that's fine. It's like, I'm looking for a job. I'll work anywhere. I don't care. And it was this, I thought it was this office job. I'm like, okay, I can probably handle this. I get in, I walk in, the interview lasted about 30 seconds. They're like, Oh, you're legally blind. This is you. You have to be able to go out on test drives with people. This is actually a car salesman job. I'm like,
You're like, well,
dude,
if the other
that was
people
so
are
not what the
driving,
thing was
I'm fast.
advertised. That was the funniest thing.
I have a story like that too. So I went to apply for Best Buy at a job because I'm, tech. Yay. But anyway, I went to apply for a job that I thought was like a stock job and got in there to the interview and was talking with the guy who was interviewing me and whatnot. And he's like, oh, this is, what do they call it? Like the security of the store, but it's the loss prevention. So this is a loss prevention job.
Wow.
And you're legally blind. Like, he didn't say that, but like he cleared that up for me because I assumed it was a stock job. And I got in there and I was like, wait a minute. You might not want me doing that job, honestly, because it's one of those places where you really want somebody who can
Right.
catch people stealing things.
Mhm.
But yeah, that was kind of.
Hey, you can hear some people trying to steal some things.
I mean, that's true. Some people don't know how to be sneaky.
I don't know if this
Yeah.
is just a troll or not, but does anybody know Farhan Khan? Khan.
I know a con, but I don't know that
So,
last.
well, the only con that I know
So-
is from Star Trek, but whatever. So maybe it's just a troll. I don't know. Just a random question. Said, do you know Farhan Khan? Farhankhan?
Oh.
Wait, that's what they said, or is that a person that said something in the chat?
Somebody in the chat
Oh.
named He Heheh. First
Who are
time
you
chat.
talking to?
Yeah, Heh. Exactly. So,
Oh,
Who are you
okay.
talking
I
to?
have no idea.
but thanks for breaking up the conversation. Heh. Appreciate it. Anyway,
We should not be making fun of a potential new viewer.
yeah, right.
It was a random question. That's all we're saying.
Yeah. I honestly thought that was like, I was like,
Yeah, no,
oh,
I
if it's the
honestly don't know.
person. I was like, if it's the person and their name is Khan, then I might know Khan, but I don't know the whole name. Like, I thought it was like somebody named Khan that was putting something in the chat.
No. A jokester.
And I think, one of the things I was thinking about when we're talking about discrimination too is I think one of the best defenses that we have against that is, I mean, it's not fair, but like I said, we do live in a sighted world, and we kind of just our best defense is really, a good offense in a way. Is like, we have to become, we have to go in to like interviews and stuff fully prepared, and just
Right.
like, it sucks that we have to work twice as hard, 3 times as hard as anyone else just to get kind of the same, equality. But I think it really helps, and just being kind of, like I said, in the last time that I was on, one of the things that I would do in interviews is I would come to the interviews at the time with my laptop bag, and then if they, had questions, or I could see that they had a little bit of reservation, I would say, hey, I have some technology here, and if it was nowadays, I would have my phone with me as well,
Mhm.
and I'd be like, hey, these. If you have any doubts, let me show you, like a lot of the things I already have, and I can show you that, hey, I can, have some tasks in mind that you would be doing, or that you would probably expect to do on that job, and be like, oh, here, let me go pull up a web page. Let me send an email real quick. Let me have here's a document kind of a thing, just to kind of, yes, we shouldn't have to do that, but hey, sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. And for all you out there who don't know Jesse, that was his PC way of saying, look how badass I am, mofos.
No.
I was close.
I mean, I know I am, but
No, you're totally right. We do have. Now, this is a crazy thing to think about. We have to work twice as hard. How many people out there are in this similar position? No matter what the disability is, no matter what the discrimination they're facing, we all have to work twice as hard just to step into the quote unquote norm. So we're all
Right.
working twice as hard as
Twice as
these
hard is an
lazy
understatement.
normies.
I always tell people we work 10 times harder because I feel like twice as hard is just not enough. Like, I feel like I have to put in so much more effort to get anything that someone could just get in 2 seconds. Like, someone else, a normie, could just get in 2 seconds,
You don't see the arrow? Just click on the arrow. I don't see the
Well, and there's two different sides to it. On the one side, you see you have the people that think that we're totally helpless and incapable,
Mhm.
and then on the other side, they have it's on the other side, it's like
Inspiration.
yeah, there's that, but then there's also the fact of like, oh well, you're always we're always kind of like a mascot. We're like,
Oh, yeah.
we always have to be on, like an average person, you're like, oh, if they screw up or whatever, okay, whatever. But, if we make that one little mistake, it's gonna stand out that much more. And like, oh, well, that's because of their blind or that's because of their disability.
Yeah.
So it's like, we always have to be perfect.
Yeah.
And not everybody's
Whereas
the same
people
as
don't necessarily have to.
Yeah. Not everybody is the same either, too. So if you're out there and you're still wondering how to approach or how to deal with a blind person, just ask them. Like me personally,
Please.
no sympathy.
Oh, yeah.
But there are some people out there who are in the beginning stages of blindness and they're going through this transition and they could use a little bit of positive reinforcement rather than like something the four of us would need, for example. So it's know your blind person. That's all I gotta say. Shane says
Yeah,
something.
we're just people.
Yeah. Shane says that. Oh, right. It's amazing how many companies don't know about the ADA, and that's so true. And I was thinking lately, since March, and we all know what March beer virus happened.
Yeah.
I've been seeing an overwhelming amount of ads everywhere for online services, selling you consulting work to make sure your website is ADA compliant.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
All over.
Wow. Now,
amazing how necessity kind of brings that out, huh?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've been talking to people a lot about everything that's happened now, and I'm like, I wonder if accessibility is going to be improved because of this. And with jobs being so much online now, will that increase opportunities for the disabled community to be able to work from home? And for the people who are not used to working from home, now they get to see how we feel.
Yeah.
Where we don't have transportation, where we're not allowed to go out. We have to work from home a lot of times, and now they have to as well.
Yeah.
So they're being forced to do something that we were uncomfortable with doing. Like, we were uncomfortable with going out and finding transportation. They were uncomfortable with staying home. The roles are reversed now.
Yep. Blind Toad says, Jesse, I'll buy a car from you.
Well, let's see. The only ones I have on hand right now on my little shelf, I've got the DeLorean, I've got the Knight Rider car, and I have the Ghostbuster car. So yeah, I got the '80s trifecta.
Kit and the DMC.
So there's that.
That DeLorean.
I still need Optimus Prime though.
I've got an original all metal Optimus Prime.
Oh, you suck! That's the one I'm looking for. Dude, I still want the original metal one.
I've also got the original Voltron metal one from Japan.
Oh, I want that metal Optimus. Sorry.
Bunch of nerds.
Dang right, man. Proud of it.
I only said that because I'm a nerd too.
Billy Mom says, I agree. Shane, Kim Lackey says, record the interview and any important conversations, show them statistics, and how blind, I don't know if this could actually be done, but show the employers or the interviewees how blind people are more ... prove that disabled people are more careful and less prone to accidents.
I think you have to be careful about overselling the blind thing too, because ultimately, whether you're blind or not, or disabled or not, what they really have to know is the best thing I think that you can do is show what you can offer the company, because ultimately they are trying to fill some kind of a position and they need something done. And if you can show them that, hey, I don't care that I have a disability, but I am the one that can do the job.
Yeah. Oof. Ability Mom says she was discriminated against and sexually harassed at the same time.
Ooh.
What? Oh
Yeah,
my
EU is
god.
appropriate.
That
Sadly, with all the
sucks.
things out there right now, it doesn't surprise me. All the stories that are out there recently. Ugh.
Yeah, Shane says you guys are worried. We have to work harder than the visuals. I agree. Well, he said visual lights. I just don't like saying that word.
Oh,
One of my coworkers, I liked his one. He calls them sightlings.
Sightlings. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
sightings. I like that.
That's
Me
pretty
too.
good.
I'm gonna nab that one. Sightlings. I like that.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty good.
It really reminds me. Of,
My
I don't know
favorite
why, but it
one
reminds me of
is
Alienware
one-sided.
computers.
Hmm.
I have no idea. Earthlings, Sightlings, Alien. I don't know.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I think of little minion dudes, little like goblins or something.
Yeah,
like
that's
little.
what I pictured.
Mm.
That's what I pictured.
Yeah.
All perfectly Vision 2020,
Yeah.
walking around, little minions.
Oh, I don't care about that.
I feel like there's so much to talk about with
Original
employment
Reconnaissance
and having a
nerds.
disability.
It is, and it's really disability. I'm kind of curious to know. Obviously, we don't know every single disabled person in the United States, let alone the world, people to say about discrimination. And obviously, this is our opinions and experiences only, guys and gals. So the whole point of these types of discussions is to bring multiple points of view into one place, including you guys in the chat. So if you guys have any experiences, please let us know.
And that's the thing too. The more people that share, the more awareness there will be, the more points
Yeah.
that will be made. So every perspective makes a difference and matters. So
Yeah, and darkness is nerd power, absolutely.
yeah, I mean, and the thing too is with employment, we don't know if the employer has come across anyone else with a disability who could have possibly been rude about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know that, like you said, if someone has a question, just, tell them ask.
Mm-hmm.
Ask me what you want to know, what you want me to teach you, and I'll let you know. But there are people with disabilities who are not so kind about it, get very defensive, and turn people
Oh,
away.
yeah.
If they come across another person with a disability, they're terrified to ask.
Yeah.
So they don't know
Yep.
how to handle a situation.
I love when people ask me questions. I wish they would do it more. Instead of just like assuming things and like
because I
walking by you.
I remember one time, this is before I lost my sight, and I guess this would be reverse sex discrimination. So anyway, there was like 4 or 5 of us sitting in a room waiting to be interviewed for a mass pizza chain. And so we're all sitting there, just 4 guys and 1 girl. And I will say, this lady was smoking. And she was funny and had personality. She had the whole package. And 3 of us got up and left. Because, like, she's going to get hired. She was there the next day working on the line.
Mm.
Wow.
Now, was that because 3 of the dudes left and there's only 2 left? Whatever. Who knows? But, in that line, yeah, I could see that happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of funny.
And I know that happens because the future job that I did get, I was working for a guy that we called Herman the German. And besides myself and Ben the manager, we had 8 females working there.
Oof.
I was like,
Wow.
come on.
What was the job?
We know what you're
Like-
looking at. This is a pizza place.
Oh, okay.
It was a pizza place.
That's
Yeah.
insane.
It was hilarious, though. I'm a metal detecting nerd. I wonder who that's from.
I wonder.
Yeah, but see, back then, though, we didn't complain about it. That was just like, that was like a big bag of duh. Like, that's an obvious one. So,
Yeah, things have definitely changed. Now everything is a big deal.
yeah. Did we lose Jesse?
Nope, I'm here.
Oh, okay. You're just
I
awfully
was
quiet.
wondering that too. Yeah, there's just a lot.
Kim says, I have met. I think that's right. Oh, rude. I thought I said weird at first. That's weird. No, I mean rude. I've met several rude blind people on Facebook. No names. None of you, though. Well,
They're
that's
out
good.
there, man.
Thank you. There's plenty of them out there. That is for sure.
There's also weird blind people too.
Yeah. We'll just group them all in the same category.
Yeah.
Them?
Yeah, I've met
And
a fair
us.
few of both of those. Yeah, I mean, well, to be fair, just like any other group, there's some weirdos and there's some rude people out there.
Mhm.
The very first blind person I met was a stoner.
Oh my god.
Nice.
It was my first experience. It was
I
interesting.
mean, you think they'd be cool though?
Not a very good conversationalist. I mean,
Ugh.
it's mostly what I remember, so.
You need to hang out with me and my brother then. Man, we go.
Oh my gosh, Whistler, you and your brother would be so fun to hang out with.
We're a riot.
It's been a while.
Blind Toad says, sorry, no work experience here. Just a house dad, learning a lot from you.
That's a job. That is a huge
Yeah.
job.
Yeah,
That's a
exactly.
Oh, yeah.
You ain't
Yep.
getting paid for it, but you're working.
Mm-hmm.
I hate
But
when
yeah,
people
I
treat-
mean, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Shane says, I hate when people treat me like a child because of my lost eyesight.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
making you feel like you're a freaking kid. I hate that so much. And, I
Or ignoring you.
And
Yeah,
how many
her-
people have gotten the person that comes right up in your face and goes, "It's over there"?
Oh,
Oh
God.
my god,
Yeah.
that's another thing I want to put in that video I was telling you guys about before
Mhm.
we started this. Like I want to do a bunch of little mini skits of like things you should not do or like
Yeah.
things that are really annoying.
Well, I was blind, not deaf, but now I'm deaf and sighted. Thanks.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and it's really interesting. What I find that's actually kind of interesting is, I was on the other side of the fence there for a while where, going through, I would try to do as much as I could independently, but, I was working with the VR system for a
Mhm.
while and trying to get help in that. But then being on the other side of it for over 10 years now, I find it really interesting kind of seeing things from the other side, as not just the often frustrated blind person trying to get the job, but like seeing what kind of things happen from the other side. Even like if we're trying to help people, and like I know there's a lot of people who like, oh, they get frustrated and like, oh, and each state is different. Like when I was in North Dakota, I really didn't think they did all that great of a job, admittedly. But Minnesota has been really good. But like some of the things that I see are, even if you have someone that knows what they're doing, they know their job, they know they can get the interview, you can have all this stuff happen. Sometimes we'll be called in, like I'll be called in as a technology specialist to go do a job site assessment to make sure that, does their software, does their environment, is it compatible with a screen reader or magnification software?
Mm-hmm.
And then when working with the employers, what we kind of find is like, they're kind of, they're all positive in that. When you go to see them, they're like, oh yeah, we can make this work and da-da-da. And then when it comes to follow up, like, hey, can we work with you on this, or can this happen? Or the client will try to work with them. And they just kind of fizzle out. They just kind of like, they were super positive when we were there, but then you leave, and then they just kind of let it fizzle out and be like, I don't know what happened, and then you just really never hear from them again, and you can't really make it in again. So I've seen a lot of potential job prospects fizzle out because of that type of situation.
Yeah, for sure. Marco said something about he used to fix iPhone screens from his house, and some lady came over, but he was in his garage. I don't know if that was just like, hey, look at me saying something, or if you've actually got a point to that.
I think there's going to be more to that story.
Yeah,
Just give him a second.
Okay.
Was that?
I can read it to you if you want.
Was it the most recent comment, or?
Yeah.
Because you can only type so much before it's like
Mm-hmm.
too long.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe
I
this
hate
is
when
it.
that happens. It's so annoying.
No. I always
I
wondered
don't know.
what made the blind people. Oh, well, that's right. I wanted to mention this. Shane says people don't realize how evil blind people are. And again, I would say some blind people, but yes, I group those people into the blind bubble, like I like to call it. Like they have this certain
Bubbles.
level of entitlement because they're blind or whatever the disability may be. But a lot of people are in that type of psychology of their own personal limitations, and so they take it out and project onto others.
I know
Mhm.
I know someone. You do too, Whistler. So does Danny and everyone else who's watched your streams.
Oh, that falls into that category.
Yeah.
I could tell you 13 off the top of my head.
13. That's a perfect number. It's perfect.
That is. Yeah.
Just saying.
Perfect choice.
I've used to fix screens. Got that one in darkness at great stream. Oh, thank you in darkness. Appreciate it.
There's other side of. Oh, continue.
No, go ahead.
There's another side of discrimination too, where I feel like maybe we feel discriminated and it annoys us, and maybe we speak up on it, but then maybe we just also have conversations outside of the workplace away from those employers that turned us away. Maybe some employers are not educated enough, and that could be the problem, where they need to learn more about how to handle a situation where a person with a disability applies for a position or something like that. Like ADA. A lot of people don't know about ADA. It should be required if someone has some type of business that they know about ADA.
No
Right.
doubt. But now we deal with also another aspect of just society and civilization in itself. If that person, that individual who, let's say, is in charge of hiring somebody and they come across a person with disability and they've never experienced it, it's like, at what point does the chicken come before the egg where you got to say, like, oh, yeah, no, yeah, you can work here. I don't care about your disability.
Well, and it's really
Well-
interesting.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. It's really interesting seeing there's been a lot of just interesting and frankly awful behavior I've seen online lately. Like I said, I follow a lot of the gaming industry, a lot of that kind of
Oof, they're harsh.
community. They are, and they can be. And there's been a lot of talk in some ways about The Last of Us 2. It's just been this kind of a landmark title about it's added just loads and loads of accessibility. It's fantastic. But the reason I bring that up is because the other thing is that there are just some people who have this attitude that, like, no, you're a person with a disability, you should be just shut away in your little home and hide
Banned
from the
from
world.
fun.
Hide from the world and just not be a part of not be a part of society. And this, like, well, you're ruining the games for the rest of us. It's like there was one comment where somebody was like, well, if they would have spent less time on this accessibility crap and actually they would actually do something with the story and make it decent.
Wow.
That's
And it's
just
like-
an asshole.
Yeah,
That's
and
it.
That's
That's
all
all
oh
it
it
is.
yeah,
is.
no, exactly. And it's like, oh yeah, like the story writers are the ones that are doing the accessibility code. Yep. But I mean, the same can be thought for employers. Some people just have that attitude of like, why should I hire a blind person?
Yeah.
You guys are just incapable and should be shut away. And early in the 20th century or earlier, it's like we were institutionalized.
Oh, yeah. We're making brooms, people.
Yeah. We
Okay.
were locked in attics in the past. We were hidden
Yeah.
away from the world. We didn't
Yeah.
exist.
So here is Marco's experience. So he used to fix iPhone screens, and some lady asked to fix her screen. He said, yes, I'm available now. So she comes over to the house, goes out to the garage, and this is where he does his work. He's in the garage. And then she says something to the effect, no, I'm looking for the guy who fixes iPhone screens. And he says, I am. She's like, no, you're not. I'm guessing because you're blind.
Oh, that's.
Or he looks albino.
Yeah.
You gotta hide us in the closet too, because we look weird. We're always the bad guy or the sick person.
Oh, yeah.
That's a topic all by itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another thing too. Like, I started saying the world would be, what did I say? The world's issues would be solved if everyone was blind. Like, there would be no looks involved. You couldn't really
Yep.
look and see someone's, whatever it may be. Could it be a deformity? Could you be slightly round or overly round? Whatever it may be.
But would everything be as advanced as it is?
Oh, hell yeah. We would
It would be more.
we would be on
advanced.
It
Mars
would
by
just
now.
be different. It
We
would
would be
different.
colonizing the universe by now. Come on. I mean, Elon Musk is secretly blind. He's got the technology to be sighted.
Right.
I'm making that up.
You need to see what Shane said.
Something. Oh gosh.
Um,
Yeah.
that
He
was supposed to
says-
say able, not evil.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
I think it works either way.
So maybe blind people should not invent dictation or work on it. That was a good one, Shane.
Dictation's flawless. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's fantastic. Thank you for that.
Oh man, dictation has sent some funny things for me.
Oh, I'm extremely.
Yeah.
I double
Yeah.
and triple. And if I dictate anything, I double and triple look at it before I send it, because there's been a couple times I say, if I would have done that, I've been, oh boy, would that have been an embarrassing tweet.
Yeah, you would have never had a
Honestly,
presidential
like
job,
that.
that's for sure.
No.
So Ability Mom says she got a lot of attitude from teachers when she was losing her sight.
For like studying.
When she was in public school.
Mm,
Well, interesting you bring that up. I find I've seen it in K-12 and I've seen it in colleges as well. But you had mentioned who was it that mentioned that story about? Oh no, it was you, wasn't it? That you had said you were in that class where you had to do the student teaching, and they said, "Oh well, we'll just pass you." And
the observation part, yes.
yeah, and so there was a lot of, I see kind of actually a lot of that where I don't know if they think they're doing the students some favor or whatever, or I think it's partly they think they're doing them a favor, and partly because it's like, well, I don't feel like I have the time to help you the way that you should be helped, and
That's
it's
I
too
know how you
hard
started
for me. It's too hard for me to do, so we're just gonna, skate you through or do it for you. And I see that a lot where, there's been people who, that I'll meet who are juniors, seniors in high school who have like a third grade reading level, or that have skills that are so low just because they were kind of passed through.
Yeah.
And then once they get into, let's say, they think, oh, I'm going to go to college. And like, no, you're not.
struggle, buddy.
It's not my call to make that decision, but I'm thinking, no, you're not.
That's terrible.
And it's really sad because,
Whoa, whoops.
you kind of go to that low expectations thing again. And
Yeah.
it's just, it ruins so many people in the long run. That's the sad part.
And not only that, but like, so let's say they passed me and I accepted them, like, oh yes, I got to play the blind card finally, and I get my degree and I go into child counseling or whatever it may be, but then all of a sudden I'm lacking a huge area of analyses on children that I would normally
Right, or
have if
just
I was sighted or
experience.
whatever. But
Yeah.
then how much damage does that do to the people I'm supposed to be helping?
Right.
A lot.
Mm-hmm.
Or how
So-
well would you at your job if you didn't even do what you were supposed to do in school and learn the things you were supposed to? I don't know though. I got away with a lot while I was in high school. I had really cool teachers. I was like best friends with my teachers. I had one teacher that never made me take an exam in his class ever. I answered all
Nice.
like he would ask questions in class all the time. I would answer them, and then I'd be like, "Hey, you need to give my exam to my parapro so my parapro can put it in Braille for me so I could take the exam in a couple of days." And I never got the exam. I just sat there and pretended I was taking an exam on my Braille note the whole hour.
Wow. And you passed?
And I passed. I mean,
Damn.
I took the quizzes. I was one of the only students that would answer the questions all the time, so he probably knew I knew my stuff. But I never took an exam, and students never found out about it.
Mm-hmm.
Until today. No.
Now it's live on the interwebs has exposed you. Billy Madison?
Exposed.
Ability Mom said, on top of what she said earlier, that the teachers made it sound like she needed to be at a special school.
Yeah.
I feel like that's its own topic too. Like, send your children away so that you don't have to look at them, you know?
Yeah.
Because there's a whole argument for visually impaired and blind schools versus public schools or private schools and whatnot. So
There shouldn't even be an argument. There should not be an argument.
I don't know if it's just a cultural thing because I am Middle Eastern, but I've had so many Middle Easterns ask me, like, do you go to a special school where it's only blind people? Like, I don't know if it's just my culture or if anyone else has been asked that, but it's so annoying because I'm like, no, I can go to a regular school. I'm actually the only blind person in my classes most of the time.
Nice.
yeah, me too. I went to public school too, and a really small one too. So.
Yep, so did I. Yeah, I went to public school. I did go to a school for the blind for 1 year, but that was kind of like a speed course of like, oh, well, we're not really going to give you much to work with in kindergarten through 6, but, maybe you should learn some technology and some Braille, so why don't we do that in 7th grade, after years of struggling. So, yeah, but even then I was half in public school, and then in the afternoons I would do like Braille and tech and a little bit of O&M and like, so I kind of got up to speed on that stuff. But yeah, public school. And it's kind of funny because a lot of times you can tell because like, in some ways it's great because you can be with people like, oh, I know other blind people. So it's not just me, I'm not in a vacuum, but at the same time, that's kind of like their entire world. And I think you really have to be, integrated with regular society because there's a lot of people who just don't have the same like social skills or behavior or I
think you need a mixture of both. You need definitely
absolutely
a combination.
So funny story. Still waiting on my training. It was 30. We chatted about that. I got 0 Braille, 0 O&M, 0 like any like assistive technology until I was in college, and then I got Zoom text. That was terrible. Yeah. But yeah, I'm still waiting.
I was going to ask you too. I know last time we were on the podcast here. Whatever happened with that potential job opportunity that you were?
You missed the last show. God darn it!
I told
Jesse.
You that I'm so
Tisk.
Bro, it was such a letdown for real. Okay, so I applied for that job. I was very excited. I was getting ready for the interview, and like the next week, I get an email, and they're like, "We already hired someone. Sorry, thanks for applying." I didn't even get to interview.
Bummer.
Oh, yeah, it was a huge bummer.
So annoying.
I've moved on.
Right.
It was a real bummer.
Sorry to bring up old wounds.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I was trying not to get my hopes up too much, but I was pretty excited.
Yeah. Been there.
Yeah. What can you do though?
Exactly.
If you know any good work from home jobs, hook me up.
I might have something for you. I'm kind of figuring something out because supposedly I got hired for this job, but it's kind of sketch to me. So I'm gonna wait until like if it's a scam, I'd rather me get scammed and not both of us get scammed. But if it's legit, I'll actually send you the email so you can apply.
What is it? Can you tell us?
You'd be a personal assistant with this person. It's an at-home job. I mean, I don't know if it's going to continue being at home after all of this craziness is over, but for now it is. And I'm going to talk to the employer. They're out of the country right now, so we can't meet until next month. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to talk to them to see if it could just continue to being from home. And basically you just help manage things because I guess they're sending stuff to like orphanages and you just have to like manage sending stuff over there. And I don't know what it didn't seem, there wasn't a large description, so I don't know a lot. It's kind of why it's sketch because I'm like I don't know, but also this person's out of the country so they can't really talk very much, so maybe it is trustworthy. But I'll let you know once I actually know what's going on.
Nice. I've heard of people who do online, like virtual assistants, essentially, and you just do all kinds of random things, whether it be like scheduling, calls, emails, things like that for people.
And that's kind of what it's like, scheduling emails and then making payments for things with. Yeah. So it seems simple.
Yeah, I need to look into that.
That's a
I'm gonna add that to my list.
part-time job, so I'll
Yeah.
let you know.
That'd be cool.
And it's so hard. That's the other thing is you know, it's so hard, especially before this whole pandemic went down. But like, it's so hard to even figure out whether things online are scams. Like, there's a lot of potential
Yes.
work for
Yeah, and
work
I'm
for
very,
home
like-
things, and it's like I can't be. I mean, yes, like now that I've been able to work for home for the past 3 months now, I absolutely love it. I don't mind going into the office sometimes and meeting with people and things like that. That's totally fine, but I love working from home. But at the same time, I don't want to be restricted to be like, people have to be willing to like go out of the house if they can as well, because
Right.
that's unfortunately where the jobs are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So there's still more to Marco's experience.
Really?
He said, where is it? This lady ended up being the same lady that interviewed him 4 months ago. Then he says, so one of his family members came and said he's here for his phone. And the lady said, did he fix it? And the family member said, yes, it just takes him a couple hours. So, yeah, that's called Common Core, Shane. And it's probably the biggest detriment to our current education system on the planet. Except for, and actually that whole system comes from back in the day, from the, I believe it was a Russian education system that Hitler eventually adopted. So, go figure. No child left behind, stupid dictation. Oh, that's what I got from it anyway, Shane, so I don't know. But good job. That's Ability Mom says that was a thing. Oh, she's talking to Shane. That's tough. Danny says Ability. Going to public schools will help you with your social skills, says Blind Toes. Yep, exactly. And again, it goes to the whole blind bubble. It's like you don't know. I don't know. This is kind of hard to explain it. Now, I lost my sight when I was 23, so I have got about half and half. And, well, half of my life sighted, half my life blind. But,
Right.
It's really hard to explain, but your personal bubble space. Like, you can feel your personal bubble space, and you got this certain area around you that you can feel when things are in this space, especially when it comes to people and stuff and whatnot. And you can actually pick up on people's emotions. I don't know if you guys have experienced this, but I've run into many, many, many blind people since birth, and they all have acted the same way as far as not looking at you when you talk. They'll just face whatever direction they're facing and just talk. They do the tick-tock sway or the front-to-back sway. A lot of these real obvious blindness indicators.
Yeah, they call them blindisms. Yep.
Okay, blindisms. There you go.
Twitter yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, this is my personal thought, I have no idea if this is a fact or not, but I think that has to do with being isolated in a blind specific environment.
Probably.
I believe that. Yeah.
I don't do any of those things.
But see, I was in a blind classroom.
I do when someone says, well, you don't look blind. And then I'll pull out the blindisms.
Let me look, I'm a little more blind.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Whistler, you know exactly. Like, that's exactly what my tweet was about yesterday, and I got attacked for that because someone was like, I guess you just really can't ever be happy. Like, you should be happy that people are telling you you don't look blind. I'm like, why would I be happy about that? Like, I shouldn't fit a stereotype in order to be a blind person. Like,
you're not a person who belongs in a box, you know?
Right. Like, excuse me, that's still, it's not a compliment. They're like, you should take it as a compliment. No, it's not taking it as a compliment because clearly you're uneducated and you're stereotyping everyone and you're putting us all into a box. How about if I told you don't look like a sighted person because
I'd be like, you don't smell like a sighted person.
That's a good one.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, because it's kind of a backhanded compliment, really.
It is. It's like, you're pretty cool for an albino.
Yeah, for and blank blank. Yeah. You're pretty cool and pretty savvy for a blind / albino / woman.
I've been told that
exactly.
It's normal for a blind person. I'm like, what? They act normal.
That's normal.
And that's why, like I said, I can't take, like, there's a lot of, like, social media conversation lately about, people just talking about, you can't use this word, you shouldn't use that word. I don't want to be, everyone wants to be referred to as something different, and, like, people just get offended. I'm like,
Oh, yes.
I just kind of make a joke out of the whole thing. Like, I totally respect it, but, like, I don't care if people call me legally blind, low vision person with low vision person. Personally, I don't really, just my opinion, but, like, I don't really care about that. And I just kind of, that's where the whole illegally sighted thing came from, because it's just, I find, like, yes, I know what legally blind is, but I just find it kind of ridiculous. And so I always just have to poke at it a little bit.
I'm going to start saying that if anybody calls, I don't want to be called blind anymore. I identify as a sighted person.
Do it.
Oh, man.
Now you guys can't call me blind.
Please stick with it.
I would be very curious to see what the outcomes of that are. Please stick. What was that?
Theory of a Sighted Man. This is a new channel.
Yeah, right.
Another new channel.
Theory of I identify as a sighted person. Man, channel.
Man, but I would not read your comments ever, because it would take forever to read your name.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of debate for names in the albinism community too. It's like albino versus person with albinism, and everybody's, on one side or the other usually. And it's just kind of funny to sit back and watch. And I'm just like, I say I'm albino, I have albinism, whatever, I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you want to call me a person who is blind, or a blind person, or a whatever, like, I don't care, as long as you're not calling me something blatantly rude.
Yeah.
Or don't
I don't care.
Way too. Like, don't be like, that's the blind girl. Like, no.
Yeah. Tone says a lot.
Yeah.
Especially to a blind person.
Sometimes what I hate is when people are introducing me to other people and they're like, hey, this is my friend Nicole and she's blind. I'm like, why? They can figure it out for themselves.
Yeah. What does that matter? It's like, have a little more sympathy for this one.
Right. And they'd be like, hey, this is my friend Ashley and she's sighted.
You should do that.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I'm going to go, I know what I'll do. I'll go start some kind of altercation downtown or something, and when the cops ask for the description, they'll say a blind person. They'll come up to me like, how'd you know me? Well, we got a report of a blind person. No, only we can use that word. I identify as a sighted person. You have no probable cause.
Oh,
man.
That's pretty good.
Go through the chat. Albino, not... Ability Mom says, well, I thought I was...
I know, you can't use that word.
I thought... Oh, yeah.
Take it back.
I have to leave the stream now. Ability Mom says she went to...
Ron.
Yeah. Oh, that's it. I'm going to start a super secret Facebook group, and it's going to be called Blindies Anonymous.
That's
awesome. I'm in.
I'm sorry, I'm not a Facebook guy. You'll have to run that one. I hate
it. I start these groups and I never go back. It's just for
I'm lucky if I check Facebook once a year.
I run
and I'm not exaggerating.
Group, but there's only 15 of us in that group, so like it's manageable, and most of the time they run it themselves, and I'm just like, hey guys, what happened today?
Yeah.
I will admit I have developed a rather mild Twitter addiction over the last few years, but it
really.
But I've met
you don't say, Mr. 2,800 tweets a day.
Oh yeah, whatever. I was having a very interesting conversation today. Thank you very much.
No, it was because of that one. I don't know if it's the same one, but the gaming psychology book.
Oh yeah.
Because of that one.
That was one of them.
Yeah, I might interview her.
Oh yeah. I hope that one happens, because I would definitely like to be. I'd like to see that one. That'd be cool.
Yeah. And Twitter has its advantages as long as you stay within a certain realm. Other than that, I mean, Twitter is such a cesspool.
It can be. No, there are certain people that I haven't really blocked anybody yet, but I have blocked a few. You can go in and block like a few terms.
Yep.
And that's helped significantly.
My block list is larger than my followers list.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Well, it's just because of the
See,
topics that I
I just-
used to cover before.
I mean, I think I've kind
Okay.
of found like a generally a pretty good group of people that I follow, and like for the stuff that I'm doing with like the technology and game advocacy and stuff like
Yeah,
that, and just
yeah,
some of
yeah.
the other stuff, like it's proved to be such a fantastic resource.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like the stuff that I used to debunk a lot of conspiracy theories, and I never got so many death threats in my life. It was ridiculous.
Oh,
my
wow.
god.
Yeah. It
Sounds about right.
Anyway. Ability and Mom, I'm getting to your comment. She says, I went to Maryland School for the Blind for 2 years, but took magnet classes in public schools. There you go.
That's a good
That's a
one.
good balance.
Oh yeah.
That's a good balance. I don't care,
It's
Streamlabs.
definitely important to get both. It's like you said, the whole like rocking and other things that
Exactly.
are just
She
And-
says that she went to the school, but yes, okay, it gave her the training, but it didn't give her a realist point of view of the world. So that's kind of
Right.
yeah.
Yep, that makes a lot of sense.
And see, that's the thing.
We
Like,
live in a
if you
sighted
go to a
world.
blind school, K through 12, and then you go to college, and you're all around all sighted people,
Mhm.
you don't know how to act around all sighted people with you being.
Oh yeah, I think there will be a little bit of a culture shock
But-
Yeah,
there.
you can't just
Yeah,
go
you
running up to
also-
them and start groping them like, "Oh, you're female, you're male." No, that's,
That one hurt a little bit. Jeez.
In Darkness says, "Is global domination a job? No, it is the job. That's the main right there." That's why I cannot say I identify as a sighted person is because of the global domination.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I help? Blind box. Marco says blind
Blind
box. I don't know.
Blind box.
Ability
Yeah.
Mom.
Well.
I love how Whistler always comments back on. Wait, I'm confused on that one. About us back on labels again? I don't understand that. Sorry, Ability.
Labels. Are we labeling people?
I don't know.
We are discussing labels again. I think
Yeah,
we've
we are
discussed them a couple times.
Labels are hilarious. I love labels. They're absolutely funny. Like I mean, if it weren't for labels, then we wouldn't have as many movements.
True.
True.
So it's insane. Like, if they didn't have their label, we'd probably still have all these hundreds of historical statues still up. You know what I'm saying? It's a shame. Shame. Oh, yeah. I think I brought that up earlier. He says, I think it's funny when people raise their voice when they find out you're blind.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that
That's
happens
so
quite a
great.
bit.
I never
My
understood
favorite
that.
is when like I'm buying something at the store and someone's like, "Does she need this?" And I'm just like,
Uh-huh.
I
Third
see,
And they talk to
party
whoever you're with.
communication.
Yep.
I'm not an a-hole, but I'm very like, what's the word where you speak up for yourself.
Or how about when you're in
Yeah.
a restaurant and they're like, "Does your friend want something to drink?"
And you're like,
Yes.
no.
I've had that happen in restaurants too.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I will definitely let them know that I can speak for myself because
Right.
I need them to learn. And also, like, if I'm walking with my cane and the kid's like,
Oh,
"Mom,
there.
what is that?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
I will approach the mom. I hear the mom go, "Shh."
I've seen that too.
There was a really. I mean, it's definitely not like it's NSFW as they say, but like
Oh,
there's a really funny bit from a comedian Christopher Titus who he did this thing where he has this friend who has this disability. I forget. I think it's cerebral palsy or something. And they go to this restaurant and they have that kind of situation happen, and he's like, I thought he was going to get all defensive and mad, and he totally went it up the total opposite way. And he instead he just cranked the disability up to 11 and
Oh, yeah.
just wrecked this waitress, and it's the
Yeah.
funniest bit. It is so funny.
That's what I
I
did
think
too.
it-
Like when I get those, "Does your friend want?" I'll turn to my friend and I was like, and I'll absolutely yell it. "You can tell the waitress I'll have a glass of water and 5 ice cubes. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's like if you look up Christopher Titus, and I think it's like the meaning of retarded. I think is what it was, because that's what he was trying to define.
Mm.
But it's actually really interesting. He makes some really good points, but it was hysterical because it's just, I mean, the way he brought, or the way he presented it was really funny.
Yeah. I actually
But
Kim
it
love
makes
asked a
a
really
great
good
point.
question.
what.
Yeah.
Kim asked a really good question, actually. She asked if anybody had looked into doing contact tracing. So the education is free but may not be accessible, and she didn't know if the job is accessible. And I have seen those jobs and wondered that myself. I don't know if anybody knows.
I don't know. I've seen different jobs out there about that, and I'm kind of curious to see. I'm honestly waiting to see if one of those comes across my desk, as far as, hey, can you check out this software or whatever they use in order, if somebody applies for that. I've actually been curious about that myself.
Is contact tracing, what is... I don't even know what that
Tracking
is.
sick people. Tracking sick people.
Seeing who somebody came in contact with, so you can
Yeah.
tell them to get tested, basically.
I think the app is called 1984.
I do not know.
1984. Get it? 1984.
Oh.
Yeah.
Big Brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically a thing to where, like, you know, oh, you went out somewhere, like you go to a restaurant, well then, oh, well, this person was there, and who did they come in contact with?
Yeah.
It's kind of really to stop spreading.
Yeah. In China, they actually have an app where it does the same thing, but everybody who is sick or who has been sick, you're registered on this app, and you will actually get pinged if you come into close proximity of somebody that fits that. Is that crazy?
Well, the way America's going these days, we might need a touch of that. It's bad.
Yeah, I don't even know how to respond to that. I mean,
Holy crap, I got a golden toe for the stream. Thanks, Blind Toes. I appreciate that. Oh, and guess what? It's almost the 14th Blind Toes. That means if I don't get that email from Shine, you're going to have another prize. This guy's won like prize after prize after prize. Do you see he won the
oh my gosh,
the glasses from the two blind dudes?
That was so sick.
Oh, that's
From
cool. I missed that.
Billionaire's channel, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
Have you guys checked out Blind to Billionaire?
I have a little bit.
I love Matt and Corey. They were one of the first YouTubers that I discovered who have that are legally blind. On YouTube when I first started, it was Blind to Billionaire, and I think Shane was the next one, and Blind Toes. And now I've discovered so many people.
Yeah.
When I first started doing YouTube, I was like, oh, there's not going to be that much competition. And then I discovered one blind person after another, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, there's a surprising amount. Combined with YouTube and podcast, there's just been this explosion. When I started my YouTube channel, I don't think there really was all that many, because I started this way back in the old days of, like, you know...
Pre-apocalypse.
2012.
Oh yeah, way back. You're a veteran.
Wait, Jesse, what's your channel name?
Illegally Cited.
But he identifies as.
Cool. What's that?
I was just playing. But he identifies as.
Yep. No, that's kind of my whole shtick. It's illegally cited in a lot of different places.
That's really cool, because it's like the complete opposite of legally blind. I love that.
Well, if I'm legally blind, I must be illegally cited then.
Right.
And it's great because that originally started before I did the online thing, because it was, you know, again, people would always come up to you and ask you, like, what is your vision impairment, blah, 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 blah. And I kind of got tired of, like, you know, I don't really remember exactly the details of what it is. I just said, well, I have my eyes are messed up or whatever. But
yeah,
instead of doing that, I'm like, well, let's just get some weird looks from people. Be like, you're what? How, what? Oh, okay, I get it. So it took them. It'd take them a minute.
I love getting weird looks from people, because then I can play it off as if I don't know what they're doing. But then, like 5 minutes later, they'd be like, "Hey, asshole, remember when?"
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, In Darkness. In Darkness just put up my Return of the Gamer channel. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, he also put in, you guys, if you go back in the chat, he put up, I believe, everybody's YouTube channels in the chat.
You're
Oh, cool.
awesome in darkness.
Yeah, he's
Cool,
really
Yeah, he's
thank
been
you.
on it lately.
Excellent. Yeah.
Well, we've been on for an hour and a half. If there's anything else you guys would like to discuss, no problem. Otherwise, we'll wrap it up. Do you have any other points you'd like to add to the discussion?
I mean, I think I've kind of mentioned most of my stories, but I mean, again, I think it's, yeah, I mean, discrimination, that kind of a thing. It definitely is still out there. Unfortunately, you think it's gone, but it is still out there, and it's hard not to take it personally sometimes. But it's like, you kind of just have to keep on going. And like I said, there's been times where I've wanted to give up. There's been times where it's like I gone through just some pretty significant depression. It's like, oh man, well, I can't land anything.
I'm sorry.
See, I'm like scared for. Right now, I'm kind of in that phase where I don't have to apply for jobs, but I can and I can't because I'm going into my program. And I feel like this is the time in the next few months to the next couple of years is where I'm going to face the most discrimination that I've ever faced, and it's just going to be like a slap in the face, and I'm going to be like, I don't know what to do, and I hope it doesn't hurt me because I am going to be working in a hospital.
Okay.
Maybe the school program will get me through it, but when I'm done, even with all of the experience, I'm terrified. So
yeah.
And I think really the thing too is that the more, especially someone with disability, the more things that you can do early on, even while you're in school, I think that can also be very helpful. Whether it's doing internships, whether it's doing volunteer work. I mean, yeah, it sucks you're not getting paid, but the thing is if you have that, even like volunteer type job experience, that can go a long way. No, I'm not saying you specifically, but that's just kind of a general thing to kind of help combat the discrimination of like, see, I'm totally capable. See?
It's funny. I was laughing earlier because I don't even know why this popped into my head, but maybe I should be studied for psychological analyses. But there was a movie where there was this. I want to say it was one of those like scary movie type of movies. The comedy, Scary Movie. Or what are the other ones that are along those lines? But anyways, one of those types of movies, and this blind woman, she's looking for the bathroom. She goes in, she finds the toilet and starts to pee, but she ends up being in the middle of a church, peeing in the
the holy water.
The holy water. Thank you. Jesus.
Sounds like Scary Movie for sure.
Yeah. My friend.
Jesus or Satan pop out of there.
My friend who was I was watching it with, I was listening, and she's like, just listen to this scene. So I did. Like, okay, some chick just walked in the bathroom and took a piss. What of it? And then she described it to me, and I was like, oh my God. I was rolling on the floor laughing so hard. That was probably the funniest blind scene ever. Except for the sovereign citizen blind guy that I covered last week. That was pretty funny.
Oh, gosh. Oh.
See? Blind people can be ignorant and dumb, too.
It's everywhere.
I watched a few videos from that channel, and they just drove me nuts. And I left a couple of not so nice comments, not like mean comments, but I left comments in there so the audience can see. And I was like, this channel does not represent the blind community appropriately.
Yeah,
like
honestly,
sure people questioning blindness on there. And I was like, this, like I put it out there, like guys, you guys need to like do more research because they do. Yeah,
no doubt. Let's see, ability. Wait, where'd it go?
I feel like there's so much I could talk about with like employment in the workplace. Oh gosh.
Yeah, it is definitely one of my. It is definitely one of my other kind of passions. Like I said, technology and game accessibility, but like just the whole like employment and getting people like hey, we're just like everybody else. We can and should, get out there and work like everybody else.
And just like not every sighted person can get every job. Not every blind person should work at all places. You know, wherever
Absolutely.
we fit in, we should be allowed to work there as long as we have the skills. You know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Know
Mm-hmm.
So
your
if you're
limits,
discriminating
Mr.
against a
Wayne.
blind person that doesn't have the skills, I mean not discriminate. Like if you're turning down a blind person that does not have the skills, I understand.
Absolutely.
But if you're just turning them down because they're blind, then you're discriminating.
Right.
I want to get a job because I'm blind and I don't want to have to face discrimination. So I'm going to get a job as a professional, what would you call it? In the line colorer.
Fill in the lines.
You know, the coloring books where they
Yeah.
Yeah.
go over the lines.
Lines.
Or I'm going to be a professional operation player.
Okay.
You guys remember the game Operation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
We just had no comments. Everyone was silent.
Good night, Shane. Thanks for coming in. Much appreciated, brother.
No, I just think. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying good night, Shane.
No, I think that it definitely can be frustrating, but like I said, it's just one of those things. Like, well, I've said earlier, like I didn't want to. I've always kind of been like an independent person, and I've never wanted to have to totally rely on the system. I didn't want to be kind of the. Again, you were talking early in the call about like the kind of being the stereotype of what a blind person is. I don't want to be like, oh, what do you do? Oh, I sit at home and whatever, do nothing.
I talk on Team Talk all day playing Dice World.
Yeah. I mean, so it's like, I want to be like, I want to feel good about, like, hey, cool, I can contribute and I can do things. And
Yep.
And we
That's
all
why-
have our own levels of what our personal
Absolutely.
goals are. So I'm not really knocking somebody that is comfortable or complacent in what they do. That's just not me. I
Right.
can't not be challenging myself on a daily basis, trying to look
my
for the
gosh,
better
I'm the
ways
same
to do
way.
things.
It's kind of bad. I feel like it's maybe a toxic thing about myself because I'm always looking to grow, and if I'm comfortable, then I'm not satisfied. Like I don't like it. I always want to do something else.
right.
Toxic. That's healthy.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
I can see where you'd be, like you can kind of think where it might be a little bit too far, but I think we're kind of all in a similar boat where like I'm kind of the similar way of like, no, I always wanted to like, 10, 12 years ago, I didn't think, I mean, when I graduated high school, like I could, if I could go back and tell my high school self, like, dude, guess what weird things you would be doing? Guess what weird
Yeah.
paths
Right.
your life went
Yeah.
down? Like YouTube and streaming and working for the government. And I mean, I was a teacher at one time. I'm like, dude, at one time I freaking hated school. I'm like, what?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I wish I could go back and I mean, if I went back and did things differently, then who's to say I'd be where I'm at now and doing the things I'm doing now? But
Right.
I didn't. There's so much I did not do from K to 12 that I wish I had done.
Oh, amen. Amen.
Like what? I mean, there's nothing you can't do except within the system itself
Yeah.
that you didn't
Well,
do.
I mean, like, the thing is, I was so shy that I literally went to school, came home, and and then there was experiences that I went through in school that I didn't speak up about, and I just let them take over my life, and I let things control me, and now I'm this outspoken person. I would have never thought that I would be doing what I'm doing now.
Right.
Hmm.
That's
Yep.
a good point.
I get that.
When I was so I lost my sight when I was 23, but up until that point, I was very shy and reserved. Like I didn't speak up unless I absolutely had to or was threatened. Now I'm
Wow.
just like, F it.
Yeah.
What does it matter? I mean, when it
Yeah.
comes down to it, I either have my opinion and people accept it or not.
And see, that's the thing. Like, I even hated blind jokes. I would never make blind jokes in high school. I was so offended if I even heard the word blind. I'm like, I'm not blind. And I'm
yeah.
Mm.
Like, oh yeah, I'm blind as hell. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I am
you're visually impaired.
I'm extremely offended by Google, though, I will say. And I think there needs to be a lawsuit because anytime I search anything blind on Google, I don't want blinds for my windows. I want to find
Oh yeah,
blind
I've run into
resources.
that. I've run into that.
What is
Hilarious. It's very important that you put window shades on your window.
Apparently.
Oh man, that's so funny because I remember I think it was one of the blind. I don't know if it was a Blind Bargains podcast. There was something about after one of the conventions, and it was so freaking funny because they were talking about somebody who they didn't know, but they were facing like their hotel window where door was facing around like the pool area or something in the hotel.
Uh-oh.
And he didn't know his windows were open. He's just walking around naked and just
Oh, no.
I've
Wow.
done that accidentally
That's amazing.
before.
oh man.
I've done that because my first thought is not to think like, oh, let me go check the shades. I'm not gonna. No, that's
Yeah.
my first concern. So I've definitely done that before.
Yeah.
I've
I
done
can
that
see
in
me
my
doing that.
bedroom before. My neighbors have definitely seen views because my mom or my sister will come into my room. Well, I share a room, so it's my sister's room as well. But my mom will come in here sometimes, and she'll hang out with my sister and open the blinds, and I won't know. And
Oh right.
then I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I just took a shower and I didn't check the window because last I checked they were closed.
My problem is different. I can never tell like how far someone can see normally. Like I don't have a like good range for that. So like I might be doing something that's weird and somebody might be staring at me and I don't think they can see me.
Yeah.
If you're in a
Oh,
car or something and you're like doing whatever.
Then you just develop the paranoid persona and be like, everybody's watching me, no matter what I do. Everyone can see me.
I've felt
Seriously,
that way.
that's what I do. No matter what, I always pretend as if there's a camera on.
Yeah.
No matter,
Mhm.
because
All
essentially
the time.
it is.
Well, nowadays, yeah. I
Oh,
mean,
yes, it
especially you go out in
is.
public, you never know who's recording.
Exactly.
Well, you have an iPhone. You're being watched all the time.
hmm
And you're talking to me, so that means you're also being monitored. Nah.
Okay, children, settle down.
Whistler will clip you.
If you're not learning, you are. Wait, whoops. If you're not learning, you're not growing. Right, exactly.
Mhm.
Well,
Definitely.
and if you're not growing, you're not learning. Yeah, it's.
Was that Blind Toes that said that?
Yes.
Hmm.
How did I know?
Oh,
I
and
know so well Blind Toes.
I'm growing old.
Marco also calls you a liar, Nicole.
Thanks,
Oh.
Marco.
I don't know why.
I don't know why either, but I'm sure I'll find out later.
A big
What was I
sister,
gonna
big
say?
brother program for the blindy, says Kim. Or she said, shorten that. She says, maybe we should start a big sister, big brother thingy for blindies.
Well, that's
Okay,
kind of
for
an
50
interesting
sort of
thing. And there are some programs like transition programs and stuff where they do kind of hook people up with like mentors
Right.
and stuff like that.
Mhm. I'm a
And then-
mentor for a 10-year-old little girl who's blind. She's
Yeah, and that's not a bad thing at all. I mean that's the thing is like early on, if somebody can see a successful blind person, that can actually do a lot for
I
somebody.
wish I had that. I really do.
Same.
wish I had that.
Same.
Yeah, I lived in the middle of nowhere. I really didn't. I was like the
Same.
blind guy for like probably 100 miles around
Yep.
me.
That's
You were
crazy.
probably the only person around you for 100 miles.
Yeah, well, hey, I mean, North Dakota, it's
I
You live in
love-
North
man.
Dakota? I've never heard of anyone. I thought North Dakota just was a fake place.
I loved Fargo.
That movie. I mean, it's actually an interesting movie, but like, no, like there was like I think the first scene was actually shot there, and the rest of it was actually in Minnesota,
Yeah,
somewhere.
exactly.
But yeah, and nobody. Well, I mean, like I guess some of the older people do talk sort of that way, but nobody really talks that way. But yeah, no, I grew up in rural North Dakota, and I mean, I liked it because you could pretty much do whatever the hell you wanted. But like at the same time, as a blind person, and that's what I struggled with, as a blind or visually impaired person, is just the fact that if you can't drive, you literally can't live there, and so
Yep.
if you want opportunities, you kind of have to live in somewhere where you can get around. And boy, I really couldn't. It was really bad.
I
That's crazy. I
had
live in a big city and I can't get around.
somebody on my show quite a long time ago. I'm thinking. Okay, whatever. Frank the Blind Atheist. Look up the YouTube channel. He talks even worse than they did in Fargo. I did a live review of the video. I'm just like, wait, what did he? I cannot understand him. It's that bad. It's bad. It's bad. I don't know if you guys have seen the clip where I play the one month in Minnesota clip.
That's amazing. I need to watch that. I love accents.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, I
look,
love
this is
accents, too.
This is me 1 week after moving to Minnesota. Hey y'all, this is 2 weeks after me moving to Minnesota, and then it just gets worse and worse.
Yeah, like I haven't heard that accent in so long. Like in reality.
Yeah. Well, no doubt.
It's
Yeah, it's
so
probably
not
an
even
old
a thing.
one. Like Texas. You go down to
yeah.
Texas, they don't have the twang. No, most of them don't have the twang anymore.
No.
Oh, you're just not
Right.
looking in the right spot. They do have a twang.
Yeah, no,
Some of
you
them
gotta go
I
to like the
identify
It's
as a
very-
sighted person. I looked everywhere.
I'd like to say Mississippians don't talk like you think they do, but they do.
I wouldn't think you were from Mississippi because I hear more of a
Yeah.
Carolina accent than I do Mississippi.
I do that on
the funniest
purpose.
description
It's okay.
I've heard,
You
the funniest
definitely do
description
have
I've
more
heard
of
of
a
like
Carolina.
I like that.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
the funniest description I've heard of like some of the Southerners, like, do you speak the banjo?
Speak the banjo.
Yes, they do speak the banjo.
The banjo.
Oh my God.
Oh,
It's so funny because it's so true. You just don't know it.
yeah.
I don't think
The
Michigan's
banjo.
cool enough. I don't think we have an accent. Like
I've
have an
been
accent.
told I do, and
You have an accent. Both
what's
of you.
that?
really.
Both of you have an accent. It's just
That's-
not like outstanding.
I
Yeah.
just need someone to like impersonate my accent so that I can.
Oh,
be
there
like,
it is.
You just said accent.
accent.
See, I mean, I'm telling you, you both have accents. You just don't know it because you're used to it.
accent.
Right.
You all have accents.
And I do hear
we
it
all
when you're
do.
ending in a vowel too, like O's, do's, or U's.
Yeah, I've heard I've heard that.
Man, was that Southern there for a second?
That.
What was that?
She
Man,
said, I'm going to throw everybody off raw here real quick.
take all the accents.
Mash them up into one here, you see?
Lord,
Oh my God. It's insane.
Oh,
this has
Jesus.
devolved. It
Yeah.
has devolved.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
We
It was,
have
it was the
days
end of the
that's-
show a half hour ago, by the way.
You have to. Yeah. Oh, we're not even on anymore.
Sure, say whatever you want.
Well, no.
We are.
That's cool.
I'm pretty sure we still
We
are
just
because
clarify.
it was ending music.
Yeah.
So
Ah.
Oh, yeah, I do have to play that eventually. Kim says, oh, that's kind of funny. Alexa, close my blinds.
you just triggered someone's Alexa.
Somebody's pissed right now.
I tried to tell my Google Home the other day. I tried to tell it to make it colder because it was
Oh,
like
wow.
95 degrees outside. It was like, oh, make it not hot anymore.
I mean, if anyone can do
Play
it,
music.
it's Google.
Hey Google,
Yeah.
what time is it?
Google's scary like that.
I'm just trying to trigger someone's Google in the background that's listening.
I don't have that one. I've got a different one
No,
that
not
I named.
any of you necessarily,
Oh,
but
I have
Yeah.
Google Homes. I have like
Um,
3.
I've got it's nice and air conditioned in here, so we're all good. But
Ecam. There we go. Alrighty. Before we get out of here, why don't you guys go ahead and do a quick pitch of your and yeah, I'll close this out. Anybody can
I
go.
don't want
Go
to go
ahead.
first. I always go first. Someone else go first.
Okay,
Oh, now
I'll go
she-
first.
First.
I'll go first, sure.
okay, go for it.
So my website is albinismupclose.com. You guys can find all of my social links there and everything. My YouTube channel was linked in the comments. It is Danny Marie AUC. And basically you can find everything on my website, so go check it out.
Thank you.
I have to check out your website, Danny.
It's amazing. Go check it out.
Well,
I've worked hard on it.
Jesse, you want to follow up?
Sure, you can follow me on YouTube, youtube.com/illegally cited. You can also go to illegally-cited.com for all my other links and stuff, projects that I'm doing. And I have recently moved over to Twitch because sadly Mixer is shutting down in about a week. So yeah, I am illegally cited on Twitch as well now.
Nice.
Cool. And since Nicole
Nice.
wanted to go last, we'll just go ahead and skip her. Thank you guys all. Go ahead, you bastard. Go ahead.
Oh, I love that. I always call people bastards. Anyways, so my YouTube channel is Nicole Kada, NICOLE space KADA, and I actually just got my channel to get a custom URL, so it's just youtube.com/c/Nicole Kada.
Cool.
And then my social media is on my YouTube, so if you really want it, you could find it on my channel.
Nice. And Kim says, if you want to hear a North Carolina accent, just talk to me. I'm like, yeah, I know. You're my favorite accent of all my subs. I'll just say that much.
Those are nice accents.
Yeah.
They're much nicer than the real Mississippi accent. You guys don't want to listen to that.
Blind Toe says, I'm Asian, but I don't have the accent. What? You're Asian?
Asian is not specific enough. We're going to need specifics.
What kind of Asian? I'm technically Asian.
Yeah, Asian is a huge area to cover.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, thank you guys all for coming. Thanks for being participants in the panel. And, of course, like next week. And like I say, every time I put this out on social media, people, anybody can join these panel discussions. So just email me. Look for the posts. Anybody can join. It's a great conversation, as you all have heard. So thank you guys all for watching and tuning in. Thanks for participating in the chat. I'm going to try to remember everybody that was in the chat. Marco in Darkness, Kim, Lackey, Blind Toes, Shane, Hehe, whatever. So,
He came and went.
he came and went like the fart in the wind.
Essentially.
Thank you guys for watching. This has been Theory of Blind Man. Remember, love is blind. Keep it blind.
Is that Whistler farting?
I was laughing at that too.
I hate you guys.
Oh, you know how hard it was not to burst out laughing?
I was laughing.